referenced his wife's shares in a childcare firm in his published list of financial interests after a conflict of interest row. The PM has faced questions over Akshata Murthy's shares in Koru Kids, a childcare agency which could benefit from a policy in last month's budget. He faces a parliamentary probe after not mentioning them during a committee appearance last month. On Tuesday, Labour called on him to come clean and publish his interests. Downing Street resisted the call to publish them on Tuesday, saying it had no plans to publish Mr Sunak's interests separately to the wider list of interests for all ministers. It said that work to compile the list, which is managed by the PM's ethics advisor, was ongoing. But the full list for all ministers, including Mr Sunak, has now been published less than 24 hours later, for the first time in nearly a year. The government has faced criticisms about the late publication of the list, which is meant to be published twice a year, but was last updated 11 months ago. The position of ethics advisor was unfilled during a 6-month period last year, before current holder Sir Laurie Magnus was appointed in December. On Monday, Downing Street said Mr Sunak had told government officials about the shares during routine conflict of interest declarations, which are not made public. The PM's spokesman declined to say when he declared the shares to officials when asked by reporters on Wednesday. The shares were not mentioned in the latest publicly available version of the list, published in May 2022, when Mr Sunak was Chancellor. This public version of the list only includes financial and other interests considered directly relevant to ministers' roles, including those held by close family members. The updated version, published shortly before Mr Sunak appeared at Prime Minister's Questions on Wednesday, now referenced the shares as part of a number of direct shareholdings held by his wife. It also revealed that Deputy PM Dominic Raab has paid for lawyers out of his own pockets to represent him during the ongoing inquiry into investigations he bullied members of staff in previous government roles, which he denies. Companies House records indicate Ms Murthy has held shares in Koru Kids since 2019 and are mentioned in filings as recent as last month. Her shareholding was not mentioned in several previous versions of the list of ministers' interests published whilst Mr Sunak was a minister at the Treasury and then subsequently Chancellor. When asked why that was, the PM's spokesman said previous decisions about what to include were made by past ethics advisors, and overruling them could affect future declarations made by others. On Monday, it emerged Mr Sunak is being investigated by Parliament's Standards Commissioner after not mentioning the shares during a committee appearance last month, where he was questioned about the new childcare policy in the budget. When asked by a Labour MP whether he had any interest to declare, he replied, "No, all my disclosures are declared in the normal way." The MP's rulebook says they should be open and frank about relevant financial interests when speaking in Parliament. A pilot of bonuses for childminders was announced in the budget on the 15th of March as part of the government's overhaul of childcare. Koru Kids is one of 6 childminder agencies listed in government guidance on childminder agencies. Under the scheme, childminders who sign up to the profession will be paid incentive payments of £600. This would rise to £1,200 for those who join through an agency, meaning the pilot might generate more business for companies such as Koru Kids. A man has been extradited from the UK to Croatia in relation to alleged war crimes dating back more than 30 years. Derbyshire police said an international arrest warrant was issued for Milenko Maric by Croatian prosecutors in 2001 for crimes against humanity. The 63-year-old, who was living in Derby, was ordered to be extradited at Westminster Magistrates Court in September 2022. The force said the extradition took place on the 5th of April. More than 100,000 people have died during the Balkans War between 1991 and 1995. Mr Maric, who is Serbian, is accused of being a member of a militia group that removed a number of civilians of non-Serbian ethnic origin from the Baranian region of Croatia and assaulted them during August and September 1991. Court documents state Mr Maric, who has lived in the UK since 2000, previously stood trial for the same offences in Croatia in 2017 and was acquitted. However, the acquittal was subsequently overturned by the country's Supreme Court and a retrial ordered. Last year he opposed extradition from the UK on the grounds of ill health, but this was rejected by a district judge. Temporary Sergeant Sarah Baker from Derbyshire's Police International Liaison Unit said, "We continue to work with law enforcement partners, nationally and internationally, to remove dangerous offenders and ensure people are brought to justice." Ambulance workers in the south of England and West Midlands will strike just after the early May bank holiday, the Unite union has said. The timing will mean staff walking out at the same time as nurses across parts of England. The Christie Cancer Service in Manchester and hospitals in Birmingham and Lancashire will also be affected. Unite's General Secretary Sharon Graham said the government's pay offer was not good enough for her members. The government described the decision as premature and unreasonable, with thousands of members still voting on its latest pay offer. Unite said staff it represents will go on strike on Tuesday the 2nd of May in South Central Ambulance Trust, South East Coast Ambulance Trust, West Midlands Ambulance Trust, the Christie NHS Foundation Trust and Pathology Partnership, East Lancashire Hospital NHS Trust and West Birmingham NHS Trust. The union has already announced strikes on the previous day, the 1st of May, at the Yorkshire Ambulance Service and Guy's and St Thomas NHS Trust in central London. Unite is the smallest of the three unions which represent ambulance workers, alongside Unison and the GMB. About 2,000 paramedics, call handlers and other staff working for ambulance trusts are expected to walk out across the 2 days in May. Thousands of nurses are also expected to strike between the 30th of April and the 2nd of May in about half of the NHS trusts in England. The Royal College of Nursing, whose members rejected the government's latest pay offer, said emergency departments, intensive care and cancer services would be affected for the first time. Members of Unison Union, which represents ambulance crews and a smaller number of other staff, including nurses, have accepted the same pay deal. The government offered a 5% pay rise for 2023 to 2024 and a one-off payment of at least £1,655 to top up last year's salary. The offer covers all NHS staff except doctors. Ms Graham said Unite has been upfront and honest that it did not believe that the pay offer was good enough for NHS workers. A lump sum payment and yet another real terms pay cut doesn't meet the challenges faced by NHS workers. Where our members have indicated that they want to swiftly return to the picket line, Unite is ensuring they are able to do so. Unite members are able to vote on the latest pay offer up to the 28th of April. The deal on the table is a fair and generous one, proven by the fact that Unison members voted overwhelmingly to accept it, said a spokesperson for the Department of Health and Social Care. Thousands of staff continue to vote in ballots for other unions over the next 2 weeks, and we'd urge them to vote in favour because further strikes are in no one's best interest, least of all patients. Pretty Little Thing has been criticised for its inappropriate outfits offered to Muslim shoppers celebrating the end of Ramadan. Muslims usually celebrate the close of the holy month by eating delicious food, visiting loved ones and dressing up in their finest clothes, so it's natural that you'd want to find a new outfit for the occasion. But PLT has been criticised for its Eid Edit, a selection of suggested looks to mark the religious festival. The items on offer, like split dresses, miniskirts and bodycon dresses, are what you'd expect to find on the fast fashion site, but many Muslims dress modestly on a day-to-day basis to reflect their religious beliefs. PLT told Newsbeat that items listed in the category are styled to be worn as layers rather than single items, and the brand didn't intend to cause offence. As a brand, we endeavour to build a community of everybody in PLT, a movement towards equality, body positivity, regardless of body type, race or gender, and collectively we celebrate multiple holidays throughout the calendar year, the spokesperson added. Shoppers have unearthed the page, which appears to have been generated last year, while searching for garments to celebrate in 2023. And Pretty Little Thing also has a 2023 Eid Edit on the United Arab Emirates version of its site. It's led to comments online with people accusing the brand of being tone deaf and trying to cash in without doing its research. Ramadan, the Islamic holy month, is an important time for Muslims and probably most famous as a period of fasting. but many also use the time to reconnect with their faith. Mehek Bakari, age 25, says one way to do this is by practicing modesty, wearing loose-fitting clothing and covering your body during Ramadan. These dresses aren't very compatible with Eid, like miniskirts and tight dresses, she says. Eid is a very family community feel, and I don't think many people will rock up to the mosque wearing this. It is very ignorant. Digital creator Mehek feels the move is a cheap attempt at trying to be inclusive, and that other big retailers with Eid ranges research their target audience. Anika Khalid, age 23, who's a regular Pretty Little Thing shopper, agrees that the selection misses the mark. Maybe they are slightly uneducated, she says. I can't assume everyone knows that Muslim women should be dressing modestly. They should research modest fashion and what is religiously appropriate for Muslims to wear and then try catering towards that group. Fashion lover Maisha Rahman, 23, feels that the company is promoting the wrong type of clothing. It's quite disrespectful, to be honest, she says. She also thinks the Pretty Little Thing is just trying to look inclusive and act like they dress for all when they don't. But PLT shopper Amira Mohammed thinks it is possible to find modest clothes on the site. I mostly wear jumpers and long sleeve blouses or longer dresses from there, the 23-year-old says. I can find modest clothes on PLT, but it can be hard because when you think you've found a nice dress, you can click the next picture and then it's backless. Fashion TikToker Imal Nasir, age 20, thinks that PLT has followed other retailers such as H&M by having an Eid collection. But when you go onto the Eid page, it's just clothes that I've had on the website for years, she says. It's like they're just trying to sell clothes that no one likes and they just don't know what to do with them. A top ultra marathon runner who was disqualified from a race for using a car says she made a massive error accepting the trophy for third place. Joessa Zakrescu said her actions were not malicious and the incident was caused by miscommunication. Dr. Zakrescu from Dumfries took part in the 2023 GB Ultras Manchester to Liverpool 50-mile race on the 7th of April. It was later discovered that she travelled by car for about 2.5 miles before continuing to complete the race. The 47-year-old GP, who now lives near Sydney in Australia, told BBC Scotland how she had become lost on the course around the halfway mark when her leg began to feel sore and she started to limp. The pain became so bad that when she saw a friend on the side of the course and she accepted a lift in his car to the next checkpoint to tell marshals she was pulling out of the race. When I got to the checkpoint, I told them I was pulling out and that I had been in the car, and they said, "You will hate yourself if you stop," Dr. Zakrescu said. I agreed to carry on in a non-competitive way. I made sure I didn't overtake the runner in front when I saw her as I didn't want to interfere with her race. When she crossed the line, she was given a medal and a third-place wooden trophy and posed for pictures. The runner, who had arrived from Australia the night before, said, "I made a massive error accepting the trophy and should have handed it back. I was tired and jet-lagged and felt sick. I hold my hands up, I should have handed them back and not had pictures done, but I was feeling unwell and spaced out and not thinking clearly." Third place in the race has now been awarded to Mel Sykes. Dr. Zakrescu said, "I'm an idiot and want to apologise to Mel. It wasn't malicious, it was miscommunication. I would never purposely cheat, and this was not a target race, but I don't want to make excuses. Mel didn't get the glory at the finish, and I'm really sorry she didn't get that." Dr. Zakrescu said she regretted not clarifying with the marshals at the end of the race that she was not running competitively. She said she was devastated by what had happened and extremely upset to see haters on social media calling for her to have a lifetime ban. "I've given so much to the running world, so I'm devastated this has happened." Wayne Drinkwater, the director of the GB Ultras race, said that after the ultramarathon he received information a runner had gained an unsporting competitive advantage during a section of the event. He said data from race tracking systems had been checked and statements were taken from other competitors before Dr. Zakrescu was disqualified. Mr. Drinkwater said a report had been submitted to the Trail Running Association, which provides the licence for the event and is an associate member of UK Athletics. In February at the Taipei Ultramarathon in Taiwan, Dr. Zakrescu won the 48-hour race outright, setting a world record across 255 miles. Racing for Great Britain in the IAU World 100km Championships, she won individual silver in 2011 and bronze in 2014 and 2015. She was also represented Team Scotland in the marathon at the Glasgow 2014 Commonwealth Games. In 2020, aged 44, she won a 24-hour event in Australia with a distance of 236.561 kilometres. She has set a number of records, including the Scottish 24-hour record, the British 200k, and the Scottish 100 miles record.